Tucker Carlson horrified as Dr. Mary Talley Bowden drops a chilling COVID statistic. We've got all this and more on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. What's going on? My name is Mike Mendoza. I'm filling in for Elijah Schaffer today. Once again, he's out on business, which is fine because we have fun over here. Speaking of having fun, I'm over here with my good friend, Michael Hennessy of Snowflake News. Michael, how's it going?
It's going great, man. Happy to be here. Looking forward to hearing the stories today. It's always groundbreaking, so looking forward to it.
Yep, always happy to have you here. So let's just jump right into it. If you've been watching the other videos, you know that we've been having a bit of an issue with staying under 30 minutes. So I'm going to try really hard this time. I want to get the news to you in a prompt, very quick, concise way. It's not because I don't like being here. I actually like being here, but I want to make sure that you guys get the news as quickly as possible because sometimes, you know, people's lives are busy. You can't just sit around watching articles as much as we want to just be sitting around reading articles, watching videos. We can't. So I'm trying to get to you as quickly as possible. So anyway, Tucker Carlson horrified as Dr. Mary Talley Bowden drops this chilling COVID statistic. I've got a video for it right here. Let me play it. Let me start over real quick, and let's watch.
According to VAERS, there have been 38,000 deaths from these COVID shots. So under normal circumstances, the FDA would have pulled it. But instead, they've doubled down. They've put the shots on the childhood vaccine schedule. All babies are expected to get 3 COVID shots by the time they're 9 months old. The shots are still under EUA status for this age group. So under 12, they're not even fully approved by the FDA, and yet they're on the vaccine schedule. And according to the CDC, 9 million American children have gotten the latest version of these COVID shots.
Actually?
Yes.
Still?
Yes. 9 million. 12%. The concern I have with these kids, so we know myocarditis.
Wait, this is going on right now?
Yes.
I think we voted against this.
Yeah.
Correct?
I don't know.
You're very diplomatic. But I'm just stunned to learn that that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Could this be shut down?
It should have been shut down a long time ago. And, you know, what's the
9 million babies have had COVID shots?
Yeah, well, children. Minors. Mm-hmm.
Tucker's whole demeanor in that video cracks me up. Because also, like, I feel like Tucker just like, you know, and you know, he's a good journalist. He's a way better presenter than I am personally. But you know, he's like kind of playing it up a little bit. I think he knows some of these things. But just his reaction is just like, also, what's up with people like over millennials saying actually? It's like a Zoomer thing to say. Actually, Canadians say it. Canadians say actually. Once I was up there about 10 years ago. All the Canadian kids were like, actually, so just a weird thing. But to the meat of the story, yeah, it is terrifying that kids are getting COVID shots. Kids were never under any kind of risk of catching COVID or having any terrible outcomes because of catching COVID. I had COVID at one point. I think it was the end of December in 2021. I had COVID. It was bad. Or, I mean, at least I had what they called COVID. I know if my mom watches this, then she's going to be like, there's no pathogens. You can't catch anything. It's in the water because she's into that type of stuff or whatever. I still think you can catch stuff. But, you know, yeah, it's still terrifying that they can still coerce an entire population into taking a shot that we know in retrospect. And I mean, some people were sounding the alarm early on. That, you know, this isn't necessary. This is new technology. It's not, you know, it hasn't gone through the rigorous testing that other vaccines have, which, you know, we even have our questions about those other vaccines. So it's just scary. It's a scary situation. And, you know, we're already seeing tons of kids, tons of people have adverse reactions per the VAERS database. You know, so it's just scary stuff. And, you know, we really need to start letting people know. I mean, I had a daughter in the last year. But if you're having kids, you know, I'm not going to tell you to not get vaccines, but do your research. There's, you know, more than enough research, more than enough literature and documentaries and stuff that has been out in the past, you know, 10, 20, even, I mean, more specifically in the last 5 years for you to make an informed decision. So that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, on to the next story. Jenny McCarthy reveals a chilling encounter after challenging the vaccine narrative. Speaking of which, what we were just talking about in the previous video with Tucker. We have a video here that we can go over really quick. So let me just pull it up for you real quick, and then we can see what exactly that exchange was like that she had. Watch.
Evan, my son Evan, was diagnosed. Well, the first thing that happened to him, if I can get into it, was seizures. He started having seizures, and they were life-threatening seizures, like cardiac arrest.
Yeah, like I remember reading, you said that in the ambulance, they had to give you the thumbs up that they brought him back at one point. Yeah. My heart sunk into my toes.
Yeah, waiting for the paramedics when he went into cardiac arrest from that seizure there's nothing worse. Can you imagine? He's 2.5 years old. He's turning blue. And I'm on the phone with 911, screaming at them to hurry up. And they can't come fast enough. And so when they come in, it's always so scary because I've had to deal with EMTs and I love them all, but they walk in slowly always. There's always a long driveway at the house I'm in, and they're walking. And I am Sally Field or Shirley MacLaine in the, Terms of Endearment movie, screaming at the nurse counter, screaming. And they came in and started CPR in the room and then got him back, got in the ambulance. They lost him again, got him back in the ambulance. And I had so many conversations with God in that moment of bring back my boy. First, I was going to say, or I'll kill myself. That was the first thing. I'm like, do I run in traffic? Do I take a knife? Because I'm not living without my son. That was a no deal. He had to survive. So then once he did, and then I got the autism diagnosis shortly after that. I hit such a low, of course, being compounded with that, the seizures and then the autism diagnosis. I was I just remember crying so hard in the shower. One of those scenes you see in a movie where you're in so much pain, and that felt so helpless. Because I'm how did my son get diagnosed when he was a normal, typical child? He hit his milestones. He did have some little red flags of eczema, you know what I mean? Those kind of things, but no. He was smiling. He was talking.
This is all leading up to the vaccine.
Leading up to this. When I was on Oprah is when I first came out with my book, and that's when I really outed myself.
Sorry, we're working out some of the kinks of the communication over here. But Jenny McCarthy has been on the front lines of talking about vaccines for a long time. Actually, I talk about this sometimes, but even 6 months into COVID, I remember in the very beginning of COVID, February or March. I remember thinking at the time, because I just never questioned vaccines before. I remember thinking we need to get a vaccine, blah, blah, whatever, so we can all be good. But then about 3 months into it, once I started seeing through all the lies of everything, that was once I, maybe somewhere between 3 to 6 months, and I was I'm not taking any vaccine they make for this, because it's obviously just a sham. But even a year, maybe even 2 years into COVID, I just never even questioned other vaccines. And people like Jenny McCarthy, and we have this other clip for you from years ago. I don't know what years it was. Okay, it's 2009, where she is on with Jim Carrey talking about vaccines too. Let's play this real quick, and then tell me what you guys think about this.
What happened after 1989? It's twice as many as anywhere else in 30 countries in the Western world. But we give twice as many shots as any of those countries. Why is that?
If it's vaccination and you're not against vaccination, well, what are you against? Don't vaccinate for this, but vaccinate for that?
Yes.
I think we have to choose which ones are absolutely necessary.
You should educate yourself. We want to empower parents to educate themselves. Do we need to have the chickenpox? Do we need the hepatitis B shot on the second day of life?
I don't think we can afford to assume that the people who are charged with our public health any longer have our best interests at heart all the time. Parents have to make their own decisions.
Why would a doctor not want to know more about something that could save a life or prevent a disease? I don't understand.
The AAP is financed by the drug companies. Medical schools are financed by the drug companies. This is a huge business. Vaccines are the largest growing division of the pharmaceutical industry. $13 billion.
They control medical schools.
What we're asking is for them to take a loss for the good of our children. That's a tough sell in a boardroom.
It's really crazy to me that long ago, it was like, that was a fine question to ask. But now in the last like 3, 4, 5 years, it's like, if you ask that question, you're evil. Like, what was the line that they always had in the beginning of COVID? Oh, so you want grandma to die? Oh, so you want your like little child to die? Whatever. Like, you want people to die. But back then it was fine to talk about. It's so crazy to me that we've come so far. I mean, and like now we've kind of reverted to the mean where now we can kind of talk like that a little bit more so on the alt tech platforms like Rumble. Shout out to Rumble. Not so much on YouTube. On YouTube, if you still make content on YouTube, you still have to censor yourself. I think maybe even on Instagram too. I think that Mike, you would know probably more about that than I do. But I mean, do you ever encounter censorship? I know you have a big Instagram account. Do you ever encounter censorship if you mention vaccines? Do you have to self-censor yourself, or how does that work on there?
It's gotten a little bit better now. I wouldn't say that it's completely censorship gone, because I still get censored on there. But for a while there, you had to change what words you were using. You had to block certain letters. The pharmaceutical industry definitely had a strong grasp on everything. So what they did is they just tried to silence us all, as you mentioned, threatening us. You're killing grandma, and just all different kinds of fear tactics. A classic one, Biden telling us that a winter of severe death is coming our way, which never came. But it's sad to see, the children that are being affected by this. People are being affected by this. Even with kids, the vaccines that they give them when they're born, they turn them into like a pincushion, where they just shove them with all these different chemicals, even some protecting against STDs. I don't know why a baby would be being protected during that. But it's sickening to see how they're silencing everything. And unfortunately, at least it's getting a little bit better. We got Bobby Kennedy with Make America Healthy Again, which a lot of people are looking forward to. So I'm hoping to see a turnaround.
Yep. Nope. Completely agree with that. And, one thing I want to mention to everyone watching right now is that if you're a homeowner, I think that I have a message for you that you might be interested in listening to. When's the last time that you checked on your home title? I know that people just buy a house and then they kind of just don't even think about it. And that's not completely true. I mean, you buy your house and you obviously have to upkeep it. You have to do a bunch of different things to it. You have to hire someone to do painting, to do maintenance, to do masonry, to do stonework, whatever. So, I mean, it is an investment, but because it's an investment, you have to treat it as such. So, but when's the last time that you checked on your home title? No one ever checks the home title. It's like checking your insurance for your car. It renews once a year or 6 months or whatever interval you do it in. But a lot of people don't think about the home title. But that's the crazy thing, is that people can actually take your home title and then put it in their name, and then open up lines of credit and do a bunch of fraudulent things. And then guess who gets caught holding the bag for it? You. So that's why you need to check out HometitleLock.com. It's obviously the legal proof that you own your house. But if you're like me, or if you're like many other Americans, like the answer to the question I asked earlier is never. No one ever checks on the home title lock, on the home title for their house, because they don't think that they have to. But in today's age with AI and cybersecurity, flubs, and people's information being leaked, scammers are stealing home titles, and your equity is the target. And if you have homes don't come cheap nowadays. It's not the boomer generation anymore. It's not like you can buy a house for like a bowl of ramen and some ketchup packets. I think down where we live, I think the median price is probably at least $400,000. So you want to make sure that you're protecting yourself. But here's how it works: is that criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp. They pay a small fee with your county, and then that's it. Like, your home title has been transferred out of your name, and then they take out loans with it, and they can even sell your property without you even knowing. And yeah, that's the scary part, is that you just wouldn't even know what happened. You're preoccupied with life. You're taking the kids to soccer practice. You're watching Gateway Pundit, and next thing you know, someone is taking out a line of credit in your name, and you could be at risk of foreclosure. So if you go today to HometitleLock.com and use promo code Elijah, you can get 14 days free, and then you'll get a free title history report. Obviously the 14-day trial, which is the $1 million triple lock protection, which is 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes, and if any fraud should happen, they'll spend up to $1 million. Yeah, that's $1 million to make sure that gets fixed and it gets remedied. So I think it's worth it. Again, it's HometitleLock.com. Link is down there, and then in the description, promo code Elijah. That's for 14 days free. Check it out. I think it's worth it. You want to make sure that one of your most expensive investments will be protected in such a way. So anyway, on to the next story. CNN's Abby Phillip lies about Elon Musk and Social Security and gets corrected by former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. Michael Chance reports. I'll pull up the video really quickly, and then we can see what happened here on CNN. I mean, you know, the liberals are not having a good time on CNN. I'll be quite honest with you. They're getting wrecked on the regular. Who's the other guy that always wrecks them? Is it Scott Jennings? Is that his name?
Yeah, I believe it's Scott Jennings.
Yeah, Scott Jennings. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is okay. I was just I forgot who the other guy was. But let's watch this and see what happened.
He came to the state. He talked about cutting Medicaid, Social Security through Doge, bringing those issues up.
Actually, he never talked. He explicitly said in Green Bay that he would not cut Social Security.
Well,
that's exactly what he said.
Talked at his rallies.
No, other people said about that, but I was there. I watched him.
Okay.
He did not say he was
All
going
right,
to cut
well,
Medicaid.
other people at his rallies who work for Doge, who work for Elon Musk's organization, talked about those issues.
No, I was at the rally. Not a one of them said that.
Do you
That's
think
what
that there are
protesters
risks?
said, but nobody there actually said that.
Do you think that there are risks here?
There are.
for
People believe
Republicans
the lies that
in
people are
those
saying
issues
about
being
that. But
associated
that's not at all what
with
they
Musk?
said. If people believe that Medicaid and Medicare is going to be touched, that's just a outright lie. What he talked about are people who are over 120 years old, who clearly are not alive.
Well, the reason I brought it
getting
up is
Social Security or Medicaid.
Okay, well,
that's
let's
totally wrong. I think
just to
Democrats
sort
even
just to
believe
sort
that.
this out. The reason I brought this up is because the claim here is that there's massive, widespread fraud, and that's all they're addressing. That's obviously a disputed claim because it's not true that 120-year-old people are getting Social Security checks. The checks stop at a certain point automatically because those checks and
But those Social Security numbers get counted for various parts of the federal government. So they don't get a benefit directly to those people, but they count for money that gets allocated to different departments in their budget. And they shouldn't be. If somebody's no longer alive, they shouldn't be able to count that.
I guess my fundamental question was, what are the risks here of Elon dabbling in elections for Republicans going forward?
Well, again, I think in the end, he's going to have to continue to make the case. Part of the reason why when we talked about our recall, what flipped things for us early on in that recall process, Time magazine called me Dead Man Walker. And the reason was because all the narratives coming out from the press, coming out from the left, were about all these horrible, egregious things. Once we started to give examples of things we were actually doing, not the things the press said, not the things that our opponents said, but the things that we were actually doing, when we ended up going before the voters in the final election in the recall, we actually won by more votes than we did. So I think that what's paramount for him or anyone else aligned with him is keep giving actual examples of what they're doing. Set aside things like Social Security and make it abundantly clear that that's not being touched. But if there's waste, fraud, or abuse, spell it out, make the case, and bring it to the voters.
Governor Walker, great to have you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Still ahead, more reaction to the results in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. The liberal candidate's victory. Judge
All right. Well, that's interesting. You know, I am kind of curious about what is actually going on with Doge. We've heard some other stories, and actually Jim Hoff reported on this yesterday. There was a rumor of Elon leaving Doge, which is like kind of like he is Doge. He can't really leave Doge. But, you know, obviously the way that they're trying to frame it is that Doge is going after Social Security. Entitlements are never being cut. Entitlements will be insolvent before they get cut. And why will they never get cut? Because it's political suicide. It's Medicare, it's Social Security. I mean, and like, who is the biggest voting bloc? I actually don't know who the biggest voting bloc is right now, but I know that, you know, the people with the most power and most say are probably still the boomers. And, you know, you guys aren't getting your Social Security cut or your Medicare cut and then voting for that person. So people know better than to try and cut those things. So, you know, I see them keep trying to bring that up. I know that Medicare was cut to a certain degree, I believe. Again, I'm not the expert on that stuff, but I think the point here is that like CNN is just trying to drum up some kind of scare tactics about those things to like make Republicans look bad. But anyway, so that's kind of all I have to say about that. I wish I had more to say on that. But on to the next article. Must see. Former Democrat Batya Ungar Sargon describes Trump's tariff program that is saving the U.S. working class, and Piers Morgan's panel is left stunned. I saw a video on this earlier on Twitter where they were saying that she was like a mega lefty. I don't know her whole entire story. I know she is like a little bit more liberal. But yeah, let's see what she had to say. It's a 4-minute video, but let's watch the first minute or so and see what we can get out of that. Watch.
What I find what's so frustrating about the conversation around tariffs is that we all agree on the problem. We all agree that the deindustrialization of America led to the downward mobility of the American working class, deaths of despair, people working multiple jobs and not being able to afford the American dream. We all agree that it is deeply unfair for the American middle class to be bearing the burden of unfair tariffs from other countries. We all agree that it is great for the president to have leverage in order to demand reasonable things, like that countries stop allowing fentanyl to murder 100,000 Americans every year, and that Mexico do its part to police its own border. And yet when somebody has the courage to show up and say to Wall Street, screw you, I am waging war. I'm waging class warfare on behalf of the American working class. And you elites in Wall Street, you do what you need to do because I'm not going to stop fighting for the American working class. Suddenly, everybody is sitting around going, oh no, the stock market. Yeah, the stock market looks like that because the rich are punishing Trump for siding with the neglected and humiliated American working class over them. We have already seen these tariffs work, Piers. The number of people crossing the southern border is at 0. Fentanyl is at record lows for the last 10 years. We have already seen $1.2 trillion in manufacturing invested in this country since January 21st. So they have already worked. Now, how long is Wall Street going to keep trying to punish this president for standing the American working class? I don't know, but I can tell you that the view from the street is people cannot believe that there is a president who is working for them, who is putting them first and telling Wall Street to go screw itself. Wall Street, which picked the Democrats for the last 3 election cycles in a row. That's what the real story is here. American Compass did a survey of just GOP voters. We know now that the...
Okay, sorry. I thought the space bar would pause the video, but apparently Twitter had different ideas. That's so interesting to see someone who is self-identified as a lefty or a Democrat before, speak so passionately about Trump. I mean, just interesting. And then it's kind of funny to see Cenk Uyghur's face next to Batya, Ungar, Sargon. There's 2 names that I'm not great at pronouncing. I think it's Cenk Uyghur. I want to say it's Uyghur. Maybe it's like some people say Uyghur. I think it's actually supposed to be pronounced Uyghur, but because I feel like Cenk was kind of rolling his eyes, but like she's also saying a lot of things I feel like I've heard him say in the past. So I think that some of these people, some of these lefties who are kind of getting their jobs threatened by other leftists who are now coming over to Trump or like who are realizing that Trump isn't as bad as they may have thought, I think he feels like he's getting his spot threatened a little bit, and that's why he was kind of rolling his eyes about that a little bit. But anyway, last thing I want to talk about, or not the last article, but I did want to just talk to you guys about one thing, which is Van Man. This is a company that we've been working with for maybe about 6 months now. We've been working with them for a while, but the best part about it is that I've actually been using Van Man personally for about, longer than that. It has to be at least 2 years now. And now there's a lot of other companies on the market that they promote beef tallow and beef tallow products or whatever. But I use this as a moisturizer. It's the best moisturizer I've ever used. Maybe it's a little gay to say, yeah, I use moisturizer or whatever. I don't care. But anyway, I was the one who found this for Elijah, and it's awesome because it's free of fluoride, toxic chemicals. They also have tooth powder that has no fluoride, and they just focus on more like holistic products. They use tallow and honey balm in this product alone, and it works better than anything I've ever used. Normally like we have like a library that like scripts that I'll use for these products. This one I don't even need the script for because I just honestly just use it and I love it. I even bought. Okay, and this may sound crazy. I'm just going to go off script here. I bought the one. So this is the beef tallow and honey balm. I have the bison tallow. It's like 10 times more expensive than this one because I just want to try it out. I don't know if there's a huge difference. I will say with the bison tallow, it's more like liquidy, I guess you would say. This one's like a little bit more tough. Like at like room temperature, it just turns into like a solid. But the bison tallow is more like kind of like buttery, I want to say, but it's also more. Or not as opaque, I'd say. It's a little bit more translucent. So I do like the bison tallow. I don't know if it's in my budget to get the bison tallow. Maybe it has other health benefits too, but I just stay with the. I stay with this one normally. I'll probably go back to this one normally. They also sell these little ones that are about maybe 1/5 the size of this one that you can bring because TSA never wants you to bring anything over 3 ounces or 3.5 ounces, whatever it is. But yeah, so go to vanman.shop/Elijah, promo code Elijah for 10% off. Best part is that they're on our side with everything. I've talked to the owner before. His name is Jeremy. He's out there. I don't think he'd mind me mentioning him, but they're on our side. They've been in the Twitter community with all of our people, all the conservative people. So they support us. They support our mission. And in kind, I mean, we support them, and I think that they're a great company to work with. They're homegrown. It's not and they've actually been offered to be bought out by like big companies before for millions and millions of dollars, and they turn it down because they want to make sure that they have complete control over their product, and that takes a lot of integrity, in my personal opinion. So vanman.shop/Elijah, promo code Elijah, 10% off. I highly encourage you to check it out because, like I said, it's something that I actually use, something that I can genuinely attest to. And pretty much it. So anyway, I want to wrap up really quickly with this last article, which again, 30 minutes. We're almost at 30 minutes again. I don't know how you keep this under 20 minutes. I talked to Elijah about this earlier. I don't know how he does it. I just want to talk about the articles because I feel like I don't want to just read the articles and then just be done with it. I feel like I'm just like kind of phoning it in if I do it that way. I want to talk about it a little bit with you guys, and I want to read the comments later and then see what you guys have to say about it. So make sure to drop a comment down below, smash like on the video. But this last article, let's go over very briefly. Doge finds a VA contract paying $380,000 a month for minor website maintenance. This is reported on by Margaret Flavin, not sure how to pronounce it exactly, but the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, continues to find outrageous abuse and waste of taxpayer money. While digging through contracts for the Department of Veterans Affairs, or the VA, as it's colloquially known, a previous contract was uncovered exposing hundreds of thousands of dollars paid out per month to do minor routine website maintenance. The contract was not renewed, and the work is now being done internally by a VA software engineer who is spending only 10 hours a week on maintenance. Bringing the maintenance in-house will save the VA $4.5 million annually. On Wednesday, Doge shared on X, good work by Department of Veteran Affairs. The VA was previously paying $380,000 a month for minor website modifications. I'll kind of leave it there. But by the way, by trade, I'm a graphic designer. I know. How did a graphic designer end up hosting a show on Gateway Pundit? No idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But I've worked on WordPress sites. I've done a little bit of HTML, CSS, and website stuff over the years. I'm way better at doing graphic design than I am web design. But I mean, if you have any experience working with web designers or anything, that is ridiculous. I mean, nowadays you can get a good-looking Squarespace site for like $10 a month. That's it. And they handle all the maintenance and everything. I actually encourage people to get Squarespace. Sometimes sometimes people will hit me up about getting a website designed and developed. I'm like, just use Squarespace. It's so much easier. And the user-friendly aspect of it is so much more worth it. This isn't a plug for Squarespace. I just genuinely use it. But it's just funny to see how, this is a small example of what they're doing with government money and your taxpayer money by saying that it costs almost $500,000 to do website maintenance. I mean, I don't know what backend they use, what kind of content management system they use to keep the VA site up. Also, too, I don't know many people in the military. I know my grandfather was in the military, and actually my parents were too. But I don't think they even use the VA. But what I've heard is that people who have had to use the VA, it's a nightmare. It's just the absolute nightmare. They don't get the care that they want or they need. And I don't know what everyone's opinions are on soldiers. I mean, normally people have a genuinely good feeling towards them. But, you would think that if someone is brave enough to go and protect the country or to go put their life on the line for something that they feel is right, then, the least we could do is make sure that they get their medical needs taken care of. But instead, we're spending $500,000 on website maintenance. Again, it's I don't even know what that entails, how you could justify that. There's no, you would need a team of 50 people working on the website at a very high level to, and even then, I'm not even sure if you could justify that. Just completely ridiculous. So once again, shout out to Doge. Hopefully, you know, the rumors about Doge going away aren't true, because I mean, they're just scratching the surface. And I mean, like, imagine Doge on the state level too, on the municipal level. I mean, there's so much waste going around, because a lot of this is just politicians scratching their friends' backs, and then vice versa, and then giving government contracts out. And you know, and like the way they see it is that the pot of government money is just endless. I mean, look at USAID. It was the same thing there. They were just like shelling out money for God knows what. So anyway, that's pretty much it for today. Join the mug club. Like I say this every single time, but it's true, is that this is a very high quality mug. It's very heavy. The logo is embossed on there. It's not just a decal that's gonna wash off once you put it in the dishwasher. It's well worth your money, and you're supporting Gateway Pundit, one of the most legendary conservative news websites, created by the legendary Jim Hoft. I'm sure you guys know that because you guys watch the videos, you guys read the website. But yeah, support us that way, because you know, obviously, YouTube and other mainstream platforms aren't so friendly to Gateway Pundit and to our side of the political spectrum. But that's why we have people who are supporting directly by way of doing the mug club or donations, or you know, even just coming to the site, sharing articles. That helps too. So we appreciate you guys for that. Michael Hennessy, thank you once again for sitting through yet another 30-minute video. I know I said I would keep it short, but it never happens. So if people want to follow you, where can they follow you at?
You can follow me at snowflake_news. I'm on Twitter. I'm also on or X, and then also on Instagram as well. So come check it out. Just breaking news stories, and love to have you come see what we do over there. So,
all right. So, yep, it's been fun. And as my good friend Elijah Schaffer says, God bless America, and we'll see you in the next one.